who are implicated are dealt with accordingly. The easiest way of forgiving them is returning the money. At this era, where many countries are facing lockdown measures, production activities will slow down. In the long run, there will be a demand of essential goods, food. Let us take advantage of the situation as a country to cultivate more in good quality of food and commercial crops. I assure Tanzanians that is the only way of speeding up growth of our economy. I still congratulate Tanzanians for believing in God during this pandemic. We shall succeed in this fight. There are about 22 markets of the standard. These were your directives, Honorable President. The people of Morogoro and the Morogoro Municipal are responsible in running the market appropriately for Tanzania's benefits. We are calling on Honorable President to help us with the regional hospital, something that is highly demanded by residents of Morogoro. Boat owners making trips from Kigoma to Burundi, Democratic Republic of Congo, and villages along the Lake Tanganyika have asked the government to reduce levies that have negative impact on their businesses and transportation.
Tunachokiomba serikali ina mamlaka ya bandari TPA iangalie hizo tozo kwa sababu ni tozo ambazo.
We are calling on the government and the Port Authority to look into those taxes since they are not friendly to traders, including 17,300 shillings should be paid every day once the boat has backed at Kibirizi port, whether it has operated or not. It is not easy for us to get cargo regularly and transport it to wherever destination it may be. Sometimes it can take even 3 months without any job. We had dialogues with transportation key stakeholders to find lasting solutions, but it seems they have not come to terms with decisions made. Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa has said that the government has no plans to make a public announcement on new salaries, as doing so will lead to an increase in prices of goods, and instead the government will continue to improve the lives of public officials by using different strategies, including reducing taxes on salaries. Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa made the statement in Parliament in Dodoma when answering questions from members of Parliament.
Serikali ya 5 ilipoingia madarakani ilijifunza kwamba
when the fifth phase government went to power, learned that whenever there was a public announcement on salary increments, it resulted to increase in prices in our markets and other essential services, causing hardships in other people's lives because our communities are filled with people from different backgrounds. Despite that, Honorable President has kept on promising well-being of public workers. If a country determined to have economic revolution, we cannot run away from importing our own fuel as a country. At the reserve, there are millions of liters of fuel. Why can't we purchase the commodity for at least 300 shillings? While OPEC countries sells fuel with a discount today, fuel is sold at $160 per ton, which is equivalent to 370 shillings per liter. Something has to be done. Honorable Speaker, there is a big gap of almost 300 shillings. I urge the government to give tax education from primary, secondary school to university level so that we create a generation that is patriotic and understands the value of tax for economic development of the nation. Hundreds of farmers from Ugutu village in Nabirera Ward, Simanjiro district have complained on village and ward leaders after prohibiting agricultural activities on over 1,000 acres of land due to claims of invading a livestock grazing area. They have urged the government to intervene on the conflict as it is affecting their livelihoods.
Na nikashangaa mimi binafsi
kwa sababu kuanzia miaka hali nilinunua shamba hii.
I was surprised. I have been cultivating on this land for 10 years. I never faced any challenge.
Kama wakulima mimi ninachotaka ni kwamba sisi
livestock keepers have the right to have land for their cattle, the same as farmers deserve to have land for their crops. We thought that it is important to cross-check on legitimacy of these lands. Our share is still big. This problem has three phases. First, people who invaded livestock keeping land, people invading own land that is not theirs, and these lands are being sold by not more than 5 to 7 people. The President of Zanzibar and the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, has said that his government will set aside funds in his budget for the property and business formalization program, Mkurabita, as it has contributed in reduction of land conflicts in Zanzibar.
Kama serikali tutaunga mkono sana kwa sababu ni ahadi zetu.
As the government, we will be supportive because of promises we made. The government will continue to set money aside for this. As I said, it is our promise and therefore our priority. We will work with you to ensure that this is done right and that funds are set aside for this job. Truly, this plan will benefit the community and the people of Zanzibar.
Zanzibari wameonyesha imani kubwa sana ambayo walionyesha imani kubwa.
The people of Zanzibar have shown a lot of faith in you, and we see how you are fulfilling your promises and the CCM party manifesto.
Kwa kweli muanze kutumia media, hasa social media, kutengeneza video ndogo ndogo, taarifa ndogo ndogo.
You must begin to use social media by making short films and reports so people get to see your hard work.
Lakini mnakuwa kimya mno.
Tanzania Petroleum Development Corporation (TPDC) has said they will ensure distribution of natural gas to citizens as well as provide accurate education on the environment so as to stop the wave of tree cutting which has led to destruction of environment.
Mzito kwamba TPDC tunataka transform Tanzania kwa maana kwamba tunajua kuna uchafuzi mkubwa sana wa mazingira.
TPDC wants to transform Tanzania because we know there is extensive environmental pollution and cutting down of trees. So we've come up with an alternative solution by providing gas for domestic and industrial use as well as in automobile, which will reduce environmental pollution, but it is also more affordable.
Kwa njia hiyo ni kwamba tutapunguza uchafuzi wa mazingira.
And Ocean Road Cancer Institute in Dar es Salaam has received a cancer screening machine worth 115 million shillings that can test tumors and directly identify if they are cancerous, which will significantly reduce time spent for cancer screening services.
Na kubwa tumejikita katika huduma za elimu, uchunguzi pamoja na tiba.
We focused on knowledge, diagnosis and treatment as well as research by working with other stakeholders.
Lengo la kwanza ni kuboresha miundombinu ya utoaji wa huduma.
Our first objective is to improve infrastructure in provision of cancer care in Tanzania, and today we brought this machine to the leading cancer treatment center in Tanzania here at Ocean Road.
Hapa Ocean Road.
Yani inaweza kuona ukiona uvimbe hata kama ile probe ni ndogo basi
you will now be able to see the tumor clearly and how big it is even if it is very small in size.
Kwa katika upande wa teknolojia, hii mashine iko teknolojia ya juu, inaweza kufanya vitu vingi zaidi kulinganisha na mashine ambazo tulizonazo mpaka sasa hivi.
And that is the end of national news. International news follows next. And in international news, A close aide to ousted Myanmar leader Aung San Suu Kyi was detained in a new wave of arrests following last week's military coup as the U.S. moved a step closer to imposing sanctions on the junta. The military launched the coup after what is said was widespread fraud in November elections won by the NLD. Protests have continued across the country for a sixth consecutive day in support of Suu Kyi. Now, moving on, President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya has said that he has no intention of extending his presidency and that he will step down when his second term ends in August 2022. President Kenyatta, however, said he will strive to ensure a thief does not succeed him in office.
Wengine wanawaambia Uhuru anataka kutawala. Mimi najua mwaka ujao mimi naenda nyumbani. Mimi sina shida na hiyo.
Some are telling you that Uhuru wants to rule. What I know is next year I will be going home. I have no problem with that. Tell those who abuse me that I don't care. My concern is the people of the Republic of Kenya and that I do as I promised. However, my intention is to make sure that those who will carry on will not abuse the people nor steal from them.
Nia yangu ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba wale ambao wataendelea hawatakuwa watu ya kunyanyasa na kuibia wananchi.
Relations between Russia and the European Union are soaring over a Russian state crackdown on a peaceful protest supporting jailed opposition leader Alexei Navalny that led to an exchange of diplomatic explosion. All this is happening as Germany defends a controversial gas pipeline project with Russia that has even Germany's closest allies trying to stop it. Let's get more on the complicated situation with William Glucroft, correspondent with our partner broadcaster Deutsche Welle in Berlin. William, how serious are tensions between Russia and the EU?
Yeah, the back and forth between Russia and the European Union is definitely heating up, especially ever since the EU's foreign minister, the top diplomat for the European Union, came back from Moscow after having an exchange with his counterpart there, pressing for the release of Alexei Navalny, the thorn in Vladimir Putin's side, the leading Russian opposition figure who was jailed after returning to Russia from Germany, where he was receiving treatment for poisoning allegedly by Russian authorities. And even here in the EU, European Parliament members were blasting the EU Foreign Affairs Minister for being too soft on Russia and too soft with their counterparts. They're calling him to resign, to which he responded quite forcefully that Russia is a threat, basically, to the European Union and seeks to divide it, this coming after he felt rather humiliated by, while he was being in Russia, talking to his counterparts there, that he found out that Russia was expelling 3 diplomats from Germany, Poland, and Sweden over their alleged involvement in protests supporting Alexei Navalny, which then in turn those 3 countries responded by kicking out diplomats, Russian diplomats, out of their countries. So this is quite an escalation in tensions between the European Union and Russia.
Now, what role does Germany play in this situation?
Well, Germany being the biggest member state in the European Union, the EU really looks to Germany for leadership. Germany itself has multiple times said that its interests are the European Union's interests, but right now that's really coming to under the test because of this, in particular, this natural gas pipeline project, the Nord Stream 2 pipeline between Russia and Germany, which is about 95% finished. And everybody except the German government, pretty much, and the Russian partially state-owned gas conglomerate, Gazprom, is against. Everyone is pretty much trying to stop this pipeline over security concerns and saying that Russia will have too much sway over German affairs and European Union affairs by being able to supply so much gas to Germany. But of course, German officials say well, no, this is actually securing our energy and this is good for the European Union, but the European Union itself doesn't even want this gas pipeline. So it's really coming down to commercial interests for Germany, which Germany has many commercial interests with Russia, and political, security, and human rights interests, which people like, or institutions like the European Union and the United States, want to see those two sides combined, and Germany keeps trying to keep commercial and political and security separate. And that's becoming a very difficult thing to do, especially in light of, again, Alexei Navalny, a Kremlin critic, being jailed, and thousands of protesters supporting him also being jailed in the last several days.
So, William, where do relations appear to be heading?
I think the key word is the S word, sanctions. The European Union is now threatening more sanctions against Russia, possibly even drawing up a list of individual Russians in prominent areas of politics and business and security, sanctions against them. Of course, the United States has already imposed sanctions, or starting to impose sanctions, against the Nord Stream 2 pipeline itself. More U.S. sanctions against the pipeline might be coming around. And that leads to the question of, even if the pipeline can be finished, physically finished, can it even receive the international certification that is required for the gas to run, for the pipeline to actually be brought into surface? If the certification bodies themselves face sanctions for doing that job against U.S. interests, it might be impossible to even get this pipeline off the ground. So definitely a very unstable time now between Russia and the EU, and specifically putting Germany in the hot seat about exactly where it stands on the issues.
All right, thank you so much, William, for those updates. And that is the end of international news. Business news follows shortly after the break. We'll be right back.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news. Magu District Council in Mwanza has held an online green gram auction where 23,000 tons were sold at 1,623 shillings a kilo.
The farmer has liberty to take his peas to AMCOS, who verify the produce and contacts the main cooperative union, who later go to auction.
TMX ambao wamegewa zamana ya kuendesha mnada.
TMX is conducting the auction well, and we had a buyer with the highest bid. The farmer gets a price of 1,623 shillings after tax.
Atupe muda kwa sababu ni mfumo mzuri.
We're asking him to give us more time because a good system must get to the farmer so he can understand it. This year, let it be used for learning.
Hauwezi ukampa madozi makubwa sana mafansida. Utamwanzia kwanza kwa dozi ndogo.
Rice farmers from the Southern Highlands have urged the government to form a rice board which will help to develop and address challenges facing the crop, as well as to come up with prices which will take into account production costs.
Kwa watu wengine, mikoa mingine wanaolima, wakulima wa tumbaku, wakulima wa korosho.
In other crops, they have their own boards like cotton, cashewnut, sisal, tobacco. Thus, we are asking the government to formulate a rice board so that our grievances will be dealt with closely, like issues of prices.
Eneo linalofaa kulima kwa nchi nzima.
Generally, almost 21 million hectares are favorable for cultivating rice. So far, not even 10% of that land has been well used in farming the crop. Again, as a country, if we will manage to cultivate that whole millions of hectares, we are capable of feeding the whole of Africa.
Tanzania Tourist Board TTB is continuing with implementation of strategies aimed at increasing revenues through domestic tourism by sensitizing Tanzanians to visit various tourism attractions in the country.
The Tourism Board has always promoted local tourism, but more so now with the corona pandemic, which has affected the number of tourists coming from outside the country. There is a big history on various tribes within the country and its traditions and way of life specific to a certain region in Tanzania. To promote tourism, we must understand our history. The number of tourists coming in has declined because of corona.
And that is the end of business news. Sports news follows shortly.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Opposition, Joaquinho, he did lose to Lendl.
In sports news tonight, Tanzania Football Federation has terminated the contract of Taifa Stars coach Etienne. Here's more on the story.
Etienne has been asked to step aside just a week after Taifa Stars performed dismally at the African Nations Championship held in Cameroon, where they failed to make it out from the group stage. A source within the federation has confirmed they have indeed parted ways with the tactician and will announce his replacement in due course. Tanzania Football Federation has moved to terminate the contract of coach Etienne Daragije. Daragije has paid the price of the team's poor show at Chan, where they finished third in Group D with 4 points from 3 matches, while Guinea and Zambia qualified for the quarterfinals.
Yanga Sports Club have gone to Mbeya to face Mbeya City in their mainland Premier League fixture without 3 players. Here more details.
The Jangwani Giants will come up against Mbeya City on Saturday as they resume their league action and also try to wrestle the title from rivals Simba Sports Club. The 3 players and new signing, Dixon Job, forward Said Ntibazonkiza, and number 3 keeper Ramadan Kabwili. According to the club's media officer Hassan Bumbuli, the 3 players have been left in Dar es Salaam as a precautionary measure. Ahead of the trip to face Mbeya, coach Cedric Kaze, who is yet to lose a league match since joining the side as a replacement for Zlatko Krimpotic, has admitted they will face a tough fixture.
Jose Mourinho said Tottenham's performance reminded him of the mouse and the cat after Spurs fell short in a back-and-forth FA Cup clash with Everton. Here's more.
Tottenham ended up on the wrong side of the thrilling 5-4 fifth-round clash, with Everton needing a goal from Bernard in extra time to move past Mourinho's side. Last night's match was the highest-scoring game of Mourinho's Spurs tenure, as well as the high-scoring FA Cup game between two top-flight teams since February 1961, when Sheffield Wednesday won 7-2 against Manchester United. Tottenham exit the FA Cup in the fifth round, ending the club's hopes of pushing on to end their ongoing trophy drought. The team's best chance to do so will almost certainly come in the Carabao Cup final, where Mourinho and company will face Manchester City on April 25th.
Paris Saint-Germain face a nervous wait to find out the extent of Neymar's injury after the Brazilian was withdrawn during last night's Coupe de France clash with Etienne. Here's more on the story.
The Ligue 1 champions kick off their Champions League last 16 tie against Barcelona next week, having fallen at the final stage in 2019-2020. And they will be desperate to count on the abilities of their star striker, who has missed several key fixtures for his club in the competition. The ex-Santos and Barcelona forward started for his side in the Coupe de France as one of the few regular first-teamers, as Mauricio Pochettino rotated his 11 for the round of 64 encounter. PSG made the breakthrough just after half-time when Moise Kean hit the back of the net. But the club's joy proved short-lived when 64 minutes into the game, Neymar went down holding his left adductor muscle.
And Kolo Toure has disclosed his tackle on former Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger changed his professional career. Here's more.
The former Cote d'Ivoire international was scouted from ASEC Mimosa before his invitation to England for a trial with the Gunners. During his auditions, Toure hacked down star players Thierry Henry and Dennis Bergkamp and launched a two-footed attack on Wenger. Thinking that his career was over, Wenger went ahead to sign the youngster, where he became a cog in the Arsenal setup for 7 years. The Leicester City assistant manager recalled the incident while claiming it changed his career for good.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. My name is Khadija Zimbwe. Thank you for watching and good night.
Karen, tell us how has it been going at this year's festival?
Well, the turnout, Vanessa, is amazing as it is.
Thomas, hello.
Nice to be there with you.
What is the purpose of this meeting and who will be in attendance?
Talking about how African countries can stop relying to a large extent on...
We are definitely seeing a lot of deeply political films, either directly treating a political issue or with a political subtext.
Don't miss the live special reports between Capital Television and Doswell Television at 9:30 p.m.
Na mtazamaji wa Capital TV, bado unaitazama Capture kama kaa. Mimi naitwa Twalib B ama Twalib Nasoro. Niko na Nana ama Nasma Mwambe, binti mwenye rahaja zake. Unasema rahaja eh? Tunakwenda kwenye kipengele kingine, na hiki tunakwenda kucheki kwenye memes. Tunakwenda kucheka kidogo, alafu tutakwenda kudiscuss kidogo, tuangalie tunafunga weekend yetu kwa kucheka kidogo. Anasema ukicheka unaongeza siku.
Hata kama msiba ni wa ex wako, ndo uende msibani na parachichi lako la kulia ubwabwa kweli?
Yeah, mtu special man. Lazima nipate vitu special pia, kwa sababu nakwenda pale kama mheshimiwa.
Ex wako?
Muhusika mkuu ex wangu tena. Sasa nikaulizwa pengine historia ya marehemu, kuna vitu vingine ulikuwa unavijua.
Ndio ubebe na parachichi?
Nenda pale kula ubwabwa msibani. Ex. Kumuonesha kwamba bye bye.
Okay, next one.
Inawezekana ikaenda kwa viwili. Unaweza ukaenda na parachichi kwa maana kwamba unakwenda kwa ajili ya kama mtu mmoja somebody, lakini pia unaweza ukaenda kwa parachichi yani kwenye ubwabwa wake kwamba sasa ndo namkomesha na mlia na parachichi.
Ndio hiyo sasa yani.
Ondoke. Kipi bora hapo? Uliwe parachichi kwenye upande upi?
Hamna.
Bora kwenye bora uondoke hiyo hapo ex wako. Alafu anakuwa mtu wako sasa hivi mzangu. Ndio unaenda kumlia na parachichi na kwambia kweli ulikuwa mpende. Na mimi kifo cha nifanyie hivyo. Tukaangalia kwa inayofuata.
Drinks from outside ain't allowed. Hawa ni juu ya.
Yeah. Rangi zinafanana ujue. Unajuaje kama ni hiyo?
Unajuaje kama ni hiyo?
Kajimiminia tu kale kana ni joto yake pale fresh na
mara vinywaji kutoka nje ya viruhusiwi.
Fresh tu.
Unatoka na chupa yako ya maji unazunguka nayo nje, unaweka unachoweka unarudi zako ndani.
Kabisa.
Meisha.
Mambo yanaenda. Tunaonaga hata madereva bodaboda wakitaka shika chupa ya maji. Maji ni meupe na vinywaji vingi vikali na vyenyewe vina rangi kama ya maji. Ndio vile vile, kwa hiyo hamnijui nyinyi. Yeah, tukaitazama inayofuata mtazamaji.
Vegetarians when they bite their own. Nishaikuwa na rafiki ambaye hatumii nyama. Yes. Yaani yeye kwake nyama ni kama unamuonea. Unaweza kumuonea huruma.
Yaani kama watu wengine ukapa. Unajua si yenyewe kabisa ile. Dizo kimpa hiyo. Na ni shida, muone. Ndio hivyo. Mtu umemiss kula. Unajua kuna kitu unakula every day.
Ndio ungate ulimi tu ushtuke serious. Kali.
Nyama hivi vitu ya unajua mimi rasta. Aje nyama kumbe ni ulimi wako. Au usiku kula nyama.
Basi.
Yani unajua kuna vitu ukishazoea mimi nakula majani kila siku. Mchicha, tembele.
Bwana majani.
Mboga ambayo ina heshima yake sana, tembele, narudia tena tembele. Alafu na siku moja unajisau unangata ulimi. Nimeharibu. Si unajua kama yule mtu ambaye amefunga. Alafu labda ajisau na meza hata macha nimefungulia nini. Inawezekana pia.
Up to the next one.
Yeah. Tukatazame inayofuata. Okay, tunaambiwa zimeisha. Yes, na tunafunga show yetu hivyo Nana.
Imeisha.
Yeah. Lazima imeisha hiyo.
Imeisha hiyo.
Kwa siku ya leo. Tukushukuru sana mtazamaji kwa kuwa nasi toka tumeanza Capture kwa siku ya leo. Ilikuwa nzuri sana. Mimi nimeenjoy.